The point of no return represents the precise spot in a screenplay where the major character takes a new and unplanned direction. He or she makes a decision or takes an action that is practically irrevocable. It forever alters their situation and there's no turning back from it. Their point of no return also lets the audience know that they're capable of committing murder or doing whatever else is necessary for them to achieve their goals. They can't undo it, and it will soon plunge into their nightmare, but not quite yet. Perhaps the easiest way to imagine a point of no return is as an island from which a character cannot escape. What I want to discuss today is Jinx's point of no return, one that she cannot go back from, one that forever validates her being Jinx and no longer Powder. I think there's 3 moments in Arcane that define Jinx that also could be interpreted as her points of no return. And I want to discuss which one is the one that I actually think she cannot go back from. The first one obviously would be Silco taking in Jinx. Soon after Vander died, soon after Vi was taken away to Stillwater prison by Marcus, Silco took Jinx in. He didn't actually plan to do it. What he wanted to do was to get Vi as an act of revenge on Vander. But since that did not work, he accidentally found Jinx and he took her in. Back then she was still Powder. He took her in and she somehow melted through his hard exteriors. She got in, she hugged him, which surprised him, and then he decided to actually let her stay with him for many years. We don't exactly know how many years and we don't exactly know what's been going on in between, but we do know that it has been an act of transformation for Powder, from Powder to Jinx, and that Silco was a father figure, someone that she looked up to, someone who helped her go through that change, someone who actually encouraged that change. Some people claim that Silco was almost like a good father, but I think it's very hard to assume that since he was actually feeding her fears. He was letting her feel guilty for many, many years, and he was letting her drown in her own sorrows because he was clearly projecting his own lost brotherhood to Vander onto Powder's lost sisterhood to Vi. So it's pretty obvious that the moment when Silco has taken in Jinx, that was a moment that predefined her, and that was a moment that could have been interpreted as a point of no return. However, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's the point of no return for Jinx, because after that there has been several small situations in which it was actually quite possible for her to turn around and make a run for it, go back to being Powder. Obviously, she has very serious several mental issues that should be treated, and I'm not saying that it would be easy for her to just turn it off and go back to her previous state, especially since she seemed to have issues even as a kid. But what I'm saying is it was still possible to save her. She was not beyond a resurrection, if you will. Another point of no return for Jinx was one that was created by Silco. It was the one that did not quite feel right when it comes to a point of no return. Silco took Powder outside of Stillwater to the exact spot where he had a fight with Vander. We don't exactly know what happened between Silco and Vander, but we do know that Vander somehow betrayed Silco, in his opinion. Obviously, Silco must have had some sort of a morally questionable plan, and Vander was not ready to actually follow through. Vander was not ready to do whatever it took to achieve their common goal with Silco, to sort of reunite the upper and lower side of the city. We don't know what it was, but we know that Vander could not be on board, and we know that it led to their fight, which turned into a physical one, which then led to Silco's wound. Silco took Powder to that spot to teach her a lesson, to show her that he was once betrayed by his brother, or someone that he considered a brother, and then now Jinx was betrayed by her own sister. He wanted to show her that she doesn't need to validate herself by her siblings' presence, that she's perfect the way she is. It was pretty hypocritical because he was actually the one that shaped her at the time. He was actually the one that fed her with guilt and hatred through these years.
Jinx is perfect.
So him saying that she's perfect, that wasn't really honest. Not at the time. Also, she was mocking him because I think she sensed that it was an artificially created situation. It was supposed to resemble baptism, a moment of change. So it would be a clear candidate for Jinx's point of no return. But for the reasons I mentioned, I also don't think that it was actually the point of no return for Jinx. I think even beyond that point, she could have still be saved. She could have gone back to Powder. And then there's Silco's death, a moment that I actually do consider to be Jinx's point of no return one. Up until now, Jinx was withholding herself. She wasn't fully gone. There were still moments when you could see Powder within Jinx. You could have noticed that she was a small child, that she was someone very much lost, someone who was looking for anyone to help her. It so happened that Silco was there to shape her. That's why she became the person that she is today. Except that her transformation act was Silco's act of revenge all along. Like I mentioned before, he actually wanted to get Vi. He wanted to prove to Vander that he can take something away from him. Instead, he ended up using Jinx. Did he care about her? He surely did, in his own way. He surely felt like he loved her. But the feeling that connected them was quite toxic. It was not based on morality, it was not based on decency. It was born out of hatred, it was born out of betrayal. In the exact moment of Silco's death, Jinx's transformation was fulfilled, and so was Silco's act of revenge. He managed to get her on his side. He managed to turn her. It was impossible for him to turn Vander, but he got what he wanted, which was Vander's daughter. And in that moment, his arc was fulfilled. He was too far gone anyway, and at that point, Jinx was also too far gone. Silco's death was his most honest moment. He told Jinx that she is perfect, and this time he meant it. This time she also believed him. Ironically, because she actually appreciated his honesty, and honesty is something that Vander taught her. Silco was very far from perfect, but he was there for her, and for someone who's that gone, for someone who's that lost, any helping hand is appreciated. So she also loved him in her own way, even though their relationship was based on immoral acts, even though their relationship was based on a mutual connection coming from the fact that they were both betrayed by their sibling, in their opinion. During that scene, Jinx's eye colors changed to pink, and pink in Arcane symbolizes the color of change. Just like Shimmer, people change because of Shimmer. Her act of transformation was also shown visually when she sat down on the throne with feathers, and just like in the final song, she became a fallen angel, the most broken person you have seen in Arcane. Up until now, she could have been stopped. She could have been saved. At the right time, at the right moment, if Vi was there was still a way back for Jinx. There was still a way for her to become Powder again. She wasn't beyond saving. After Silco died, the only thing that she had for many years was gone. The only reliable thing. She also lost Vi. In her mind, she lost everything. In her opinion, she lost everyone. She had nothing. And now, her father was gone as well. For the second time. And also because of her. She was blamed for Vander's death. And she directly caused Silco's demise. That is too much for a person. Especially a person that is not well. Because she isn't well. She became a person driven by desperation. A person that no longer had to withhold. That's why she grabbed the rocket. That's why she aimed it at the council. Because there was nothing for her to lose. There was nothing that she wanted to achieve. All that was left was her desperation and hatred within her. All that she wanted to do was destroy. All that she wanted to do was hurt people. She did not care about anyone nor anything. She was too far gone. That's why I think that moment defined her and defined her transformation from Jinx to Powder. I think it was Jinx's point of no return. She went to that island and there's no way for her to actually come back. Or at least it would take a lot. I guess we'll find out in season 2 and I can't wait for it. Let me know, do you agree? Do you think that was Jinx's point of no return? Or do you actually think that there's a way for her to still become Powder again? Thanks so much for watching, stay safe. This was Ola from Stop Neo channel.